Yo, what is up guys, Gray here, and today we have got our week 6 battle of the IBL D-League. We're going up against Obo and the Houston Laxes. It's actually the first time I faced him, so excited to face him in league. We actually faced him both the IBL and the PMC in the same week, so we actually played the battles back to back, playing the IBL first. So first off, if I sound tired or quiet or anything like that, it's because I have just woken up and also people are still asleep in the house, so I try to be a little bit respectful and let them get their sleep. So yeah, first off, his team was really kind of scary. He had just taken over from Pokemaster Mike and made one trade, which was dropping Terrakion and picking up Keldeo, which was certainly pretty good against my team. It did have Toxapex though that kind of just hard-walled it, unless it was like some Calm Mind, Hidden Power, Electric set, something along those lines. But yeah, the rest of his team: Kartana, Milotic, Mega Rosaria, Cofagrigus, Crocodile, Alakazam, Jolteon, Entei, Keldeo, Salamence, and Comfey. So yeah, I was definitely expecting the Alakazam to come along. Focus Alakazam will be very good against my team. Very few things on my team are like bulky enough really to take a hit afterwards, but he didn't bring it, unfortunately. Nobody did bring the Keldeo. I was kind of expecting that because other than Toxapex and I guess Bulu to an extent, can kind of check it on my team. A Choice Scarf variant was definitely very scary. I got a Choice Scarf Raichu just for that, pretty much. That's the only reason I brought it, it's just Choice Scarf. That and for Kartana, I believe. So yeah, we'll get into my team in a second. On his team, I didn't expect the Entei to turn up, just because I do have good checks into it. If he is Choice Banded, then I can go into Toxapex, see which move he wants to go for, and go out into like a relative check. If he wants to go for Stomping Tantrum, I'll go into Togekiss or into Bulu. If he goes for Sacred Fire, it gives me a good chance to set up on my Victini. But yeah, the team he actually ended up bringing was Entei, Milotic, Mega Rosaria, Crocodile, Jolteon, and Cofagrigus. So quite a few of his threats that I was definitely expecting to turn up didn't turn up. So very good for me. I didn't expect the Crocodile to show up against my team because it can't sit there and hit Earthquake. It needs to go for Stomping Tantrum, and because of that I also felt like Mega Rosaria was probably special. But regardless, I feel I can kind of check that Mega Rosaria better if it's special, because I do still have both a Victini that would check every move that it has potentially if it's special, and a Toxapex that doesn't really care too much for a special set, especially because it can't set it up. But yeah, going into the team that I brought a physically defensive Toxapex making its debut this week, and it's pretty much entirely physically defensive. It does have a little bit of attack, a little bit of special attack, and a little bit of Spadef investment with a relaxed nature. Didn't need to outspeed anything this week. His entire team, apart from the Cofagrigus, was quicker than me. And Cofagrigus, I don't really care too much if I get outsped, because at least I can haze it on the next turn. If it is a Calm Mind or a Nasty Plot set. So not the end of the world. Running Scold, Gunk Shot, Haze, and Recover. Haze is there to stop it from stop anything from setting up. Most notably the Mega Rosaria and the Cofagrigus in this matchup. Gunk Shot is there for the Mega Rosaria. It does about half, give or take, to a defensive set, which is quite nice. And Scold is there to get any kind of burns off that isn't necessary. It'd be nice to Scold the Crocodile or the Entei, but also Cofagrigus doesn't necessarily appreciate it too much. Next up we have an Assault Vest Bulu, bringing an Assault Vest again because it's just been so good for me this season. Running Wood Hammer, Stone Edge, Smart Strike, and Hidden Power Fire. The Kartana definitely a threat, needed to run HP Fire. Even with an Adamant Nature it does OHKO, and depending on what kind of investment he's running. But if he is not running any bulk at all, which I'm kind of expecting because I don't have a Heliolisk anymore, but still, like, regardless, I don't expect him to run any kind of bulk or very minimal bulk at the very least. So I'm running 188 HP, 184 in attack with an adamant nature, 44 in defense, 36 in special defense, and 56 in speed. The bulk was just to kind of be able to take hits from both sides just as well as I could. I take kind of hits from special Mega Rotaria kind of alright. I think I don't get 2-hit KO'd by a potential Hyper Voice. So yeah, that's very nice to have on my team. Next up we got Victini with Fire MZ. It is the Z Sunny Day set, so Blue Flare, Solar Beam and Glaciate as the 3 moves it's going with. Pretty much just max special attacks, good amount of speed to be able to outspeed the Crocodile on his team. And yeah, other than that, just throwing the rest into HP. Fairly simple, it's here to set up and it's the sweep late game. I do need the Mega Altaria to go, but there's nothing else on his team that really appreciates a Blue Flare in the Sun or a Solar Beam. He didn't bring the Salamence, so Glaciate is kind of useless, but at the same time it does hit the Mega Altaria. It should be kind of a low amount of health, but I'm fairly sure Blue Flare does roughly the same damage. Next up we have Togekiss with a Modest Nature and Leftovers with Dazzling Gleam, Air Slash, Wish and Protect. It's kind of just here to be a Wish Passer, max HP, near enough max special attack and a little bit in speed. Just in case he wants to run some speed creep on like his Mega Rotaria or just like a speed creep with a speed creep, I put enough speed in to make sure that I outspeed a fully bulky or just a no speed Mega Rotaria altogether. Dazzling Gleam, Air Slash, just kind of the coverage I need to be able to hit everything on his team neutrally. Do hit things like the Crocodile, the Mega Rotaria, the Salamence and the Keldeo for super effective damage, but everything else is pretty much just neutral, and with a Modest Nature it's kind of all I needed to be able to do a good amount of damage to everything. Next up we have Mega Aggron with Heavy Slam, Flamethrower, Toxic and Stealth Rock. Yeah, that's right, I'm running a Flamethrower this week because I felt like if there's anything that he wants to set up his Kartana on, it's going to be a Mega Aggron, because for the most part I can't hit it. I may be running Fire Punch, but it still takes a Fire Punch and can hit back pretty hard with a Secret Sword or Sacred Sword, whichever one it gets. I can't remember, but yeah, it definitely does a lot of damage in return. So I felt like running Flamethrower that definitely OHKOs, even with a minus special attack nature on a Mega Aggron. Just how weak Kartana is, it's still going to pick up the KO. So Heavy Slam does pretty much all it needs to do. The only thing I can't really hit on his team was the Milotic and the Keldeo. So I've run Toxic as my third move just to be able to hit those two. If I can catch Milotic on the switch in, that's better than it getting its Flame Orb. But at the same time, I kind of deal with Flame Orb Milotic pretty well between Raichu and my Tapu Bulu. So yeah, Mega Aggron is kind of just here to set up rocks and take hits on the special side. It can take hits very well from the physical side regardless, just naturally. It takes it pretty well. Mega Rotaria, if it sets up to +4, I think, has a chance. Sorry, +5, I think. +5 or +6. It needs to be to even have a chance to OHKO with Earthquake, which is kind of absurd. It takes a hit from Entei, it takes a hit from Crocodile, and yeah, nothing on his team can OHKO it. So rocks are almost guaranteed. If I can get it in on the right thing, then even better. But yeah, that's kind of just what Mega Aggron is, because his way of removing rocks is pretty much just Salamence and Mega Rotaria, so rocks can be really nice in this battle. And lastly we have our Raichu Choice Scarf with Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Surf and Hidden Power Ice. Thunderbolt does like over half to a Kartana, and because I'm Scarfed I can take a hit and then throw off a second Thunderbolt and kill it. Surf is there for the Crocodile and can also do a decent amount to the Entei as well. And Hidden Power Ice obviously for the Salamence and for the Mega Rotaria. If he thinks that he can switch in his Mega Rotaria early game before it's even megaed on my Raichu, then I might be able to just pick up a KO with Hidden Power Ice, but at the same time that's kind of unlikely. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the battle. Like I said, I just kind of want to set up my rocks first thing that is like my main priority here. So I'm going to lead off with my Mega Aggron. Not to mention that I really didn't feel like his lead was going to be Entei, but as we're going to see, he actually does lead with Entei. I do have limited switch-ins, I guess, to this thing, but it does also stop me from being able to set up my rocks, because I don't want to take that kind of big chunk of damage. I've got a perfectly good switch-in into my Toxapex. It can actually not be 2-hit KO'd by Adamant Banded Stomping Tantrum, so that's always nice. And as you can see, that damage is actually Adamant Banded. Like, I calced it, and that is actually banded. So he is not doing a lot at all with those Sacred Fires, as he goes straight out into his Crocodile, and I thought this was a really risky play. I definitely expected the Mega Rotaria to come out, just because it's kind of setup fodder. So I fire off a Gunk Shot. That's kind of the best thing I can do against Mega Rotaria. But yeah, he does switch into his Crocodile, which is super risky. If I had gone for Scald, then that would have done a lot of damage. If I had gone for Liquidation, even that would have done a lot of damage. But yeah, he gets off alright, and he's just going for the knockoff. I kind of expected this. He wants to try and cripple something, and Togekiss kind of acts as a secondary Crocodile check. Do have to watch out for the Stone Edge, but if he doesn't have Stone Edge, then for the most part I'm going to be okay. As he just goes out into his Entei on my Togekiss, and I just fire off Dazzling Gleam. At this point I have no need to wish up. I've not really taken any damage, so that Dazzling Gleam does a decent chunk to his Entei, and he's just going to switch again. So he's just switching all over the place. I guess he expected my Toxapex to come out, and that does give him a good chance to set up with his Cofagrigus, has he got, if he has got Nasty Plot or Calm Mind. And as you can see, he does Nasty Plot up. I just go for a Scald, hoping for maybe like a burn or something. If I can burn this, then unless it's like some some Rest Talk kind of set, then it's kind of just crippled, and it will slowly die. And he reverses +2 Psychic, which Toxapex takes like an absolute champ. As I go for a Haze, I don't want this thing to be +2, as this now gives me a switch back into my Togekiss, because it can do a lot of damage. Like, with Air Slash it can 2-hit KO, and he may not want to risk the flinch potential. So yeah, I'm either expecting another Psychic just to finish me off, or I'm expecting a Nasty Plot to try to set up again. And as we're going to see, he goes for the Nasty Plot, and I'm just going to click Air Slash twice. There's a good chance that I do lose my Togekiss here, but he doesn't know what set I am, so he's going to switch out. And he goes straight out into his Milotic, because it is a very safe switch. And at this point there's no way of me stopping him from getting his Flame Orb off, which is both great and bad for me, because it will be taking some residual damage, but at the same time it's going to make my Wood Hammer potentially not kill from like 80%, I want to say. Like, he needs to be at a high amount of health to be able to take a Wood Hammer. So I'm just going to throw off a Wish. Every time that Milotic comes in, I get a free Wish off, so I'm just going to pause here for a second. Yeah, he goes out to his Jolteon. Like, I have a free switch into Bulu, so every time he goes into Milotic, I can throw off a Wish, and I can switch out into whatever kind of checks whatever he wants to bring out. So at this point I could either go into my Mega Aggron, or I can go into my Tapu Bulu. And I don't really want to take too much damage on my Aggron, because I do want it to be a good check to things like Mega Rotaria, should it be Dragon Dance, and to a Crocodile in the grassy terrain, depending on whether or not he's running Stomping Tantrum or Earthquake. But at this point I'm just going to go straight out into my Tapu Bulu. I see no reason not to. He may think I'm going to go out to my Victini on this for whatever reason, because I just set up a Wish as potential. So he's just going to go for the Shadow Ball, so I'm guessing he was predicting that to come out. Potentially expecting a Raichu as well. But I'm going to take that hit absolutely fine, get the Wish, and I don't expect him to stay in again. Like, he's seen how much damage that does, he knows I'm Assault Vested, and that he's probably not going to be able to do enough damage to be able to take out my Tapu Bulu, and he will die to pretty much anything that I throw off. So I'm expecting him to switch out into into either the I'm pretty much just expecting him to go into Mega Rotaria. It's kind of his only switch into this thing. Maybe into Entei to try and take a hit, and it will be able to take a wood hammer relatively well. I think it takes like 40% or so. But actually he's just going to stay in, and he's going to go for the hidden power poison, so definitely some nice tech on his part. But the Stone Edge is still going to hurt, and it's going to put it in range of like 2 lots of rocks and burn damage, so that's kind of nice. And at this point I know I definitely don't want to take a second lot of a second hidden power poison, and I see this as like the best chance I have to set up rocks. Unless he volt switches here, then there's nothing that can stop him from me getting my rocks up. Sorry, it's super early, I can't speak English at all, but yeah, this is certainly a great opportunity for me to set up rocks. And he goes out into his crocodile. This doesn't really bother me too much. He does go to get the intimidate off, but I'm just here to set up rocks. Like, there's nothing else I want to do. And excuse me, man, I'm so professional with yawning in the middle of a video. But after this I just kind of want Toxic, because unless he's got Stomping Tantrum, like Stomping Tantrum from Crook does a little bit of damage, but at the same time I can Wish Pass pretty freely, I feel, into my Mega Aggron if at any point the Milotic comes out. So he goes straight out into his Milotic. I'm actually going to throw off a Toxic here to try and catch the Crocodile and wear that down, but he goes straight into his Milotic. So like I said earlier, every time this comes in I get a free Wish off, and I can throw it off to whoever I want. So I'm going to switch straight out into my Togekiss, and I believe again I'm just going to click Wish as he goes for a cover. So this does now mean that he can take a Wood Hammer, I believe, in the grassy terrain. Unless I'm banded, then nothing takes it. Like, there's no way that a even fully physically defensive Milotic will take the hit. So he goes for a Toxic here, which is a little bit problematic. It does mean that my Togekiss is on timer, but I do have Heal Bell, I believe. I don't have Heal Bell on this set. It's a different set I have Heal Bell. But yeah, it's a little bit problematic, but it's not the end of the world. Like, this is literally just here to Wish Pass, so it's going to do exactly what I want it to do. And here I expect either the Toxic or the Ice Beam. I definitely don't expect him to Scald, so I feel like going to Bulu is kind of a free switch. It's not ideal, but at the same time it's not the end of the world either. So he actually throws off the Ice Beam, unless that was like max special attack. There was no way it's taking me out. And yeah, we get our Bulu back up to a reasonable amount of health. It can take another hidden power poison if it needs to, and that's just kind of great. That means it's a switch into Jolteon again, should I need it to be. And he's actually going to switch. He kind of needs to pick off a sack here, unless he gets into his Mega Rotaria, but this time I'm not going to predict, I'm not going to play around, I'm just going for the Wood Hammer. And yeah, his Cophagus just goes down, and that's one kind of major threat that was kind of worrying me in the back of my mind. I was like, there's not a lot on my team that can kind of deal with this. So yeah, having that go is fantastic for me. And he's just going to bring out his Entei, and of course now Entei with the rocks up is going to be taking a bit of chip every time, so that's absolutely fantastic for me. Like, it can only take another maybe 3 lots of rocks after the terrain is gone, and I can keep switching in my my Toxapex. Like, keep switching in and out. He goes for the Stomping Tantrum this time, and this is Adamant Banded, and I just kind of take it with like it was nothing. And unfortunately I'm not going to be able to stay in, but I do know he's locked it into Stomping Tantrum. And that means I can get another switch out into my Togekiss, and or my Tapu Bulu, depending on which one I want to go for. I think here I do go for the Tapu Bulu, just because I know that Jolteon seems like a reliable switch for him. If he is to switch out, and also it just takes the Stomping Tantrum absolutely fine. And he's going out into his Jolteon, takes the rocks damage and the burn damage, with a little bit of grassy terrain in between. But I'm certainly out of range of hidden power poison, but at the same time I just kind of don't want to take the hit. So I'm going to go out into my Aggron. It's pretty much going to check it 100% because I know it's not Life Orb. So he just goes for the Volt Switch. He just goes straight up for the Volt Switch. That's a good play on his part, but at the same time, like, something on his team would have had to have taken a big hit afterwards. If I'd probably gone for Stone Edge had I stayed in. But again, he's going to bring in his Entei on my Mega Aggron. It's kind of the only time he can bring it in safely. And in case I want to go out into my Togekiss, seems like a more reliable switch here. I feel like he's going to go for the Sacred Fire because firstly it will do a massive amount of damage to my Mega Aggron, if not take it out, and it will just take out my Togekiss, which has been a bit of a problem for his team so far. He's really kind of struggled to take it out. So I'm expecting him to want to go for the Sacred Fire over the Stomping Tantrum, not expecting me to want to sack my Toxapex at this point, but I have no reason to not go into Toxapex. I am back over half, and I can take a Stomping Tantrum, and again, like, it should just resets, it goes over and over, and that's going to do about 40 damage with the Black Sludge Recovery. I know I can take another hit absolutely fine, because I didn't get burnt, and I believe here I'm just going to go for Recover to get myself back up to a reasonable amount of health. So he does actually get the burn on the second one, but the second one it didn't really matter as much. I would have still lived even if he hadn't got the burn on that first turn, but it is what it is. Now our Black Sludge is kind of being negated, which kind of sucks, but I'm going to go for a second Recover here. I just want to get back up to full. I believe I do anyway. No, sorry, I go for a Scald. I just want to get rid of this Entei at this point. It's a little bit annoying, and again he makes the same switch out into his Crocodile, and as it turns out he's actually a Salt Vest and takes literally nothing from that Scald. I am still a Toxapex at the end of the day with like base nothing special attack, so we do snag the burn, which is fantastic for me. It does mean this Crocodile is absolutely not a threat to my team whatsoever. So he's just going to switch again, like he's literally just switching in and out of these rocks like they're nothing. And I believe I'll go for a Recover here. I have no reason to not go for a Recover, I just want to be at full health. And if he had gone for an Earthquake or a Stomping Tantrum then, with the burn, I would have been absolutely fine, taking like 40 damage or so, and be able to recover up to full. So this is a little bit problematic. I know it's first turn Mega, and I do have Haze, so even at +2 he's not going to take me out with an Earthquake. I can Gunk Shot on the first one, try and get a potential poison, and then with the second one I'm just going to Haze. Like, I have no reason to let this thing set up, so going for Gunk Shot on the first turn, and we do not get a poison unfortunately. And yeah, so now if he wants to go for Earthquake, it's going to do a decent chunk, but at the same time I just get my Regenerator after the Haze and I'll be back up at like 80-90%. So Toxapex is really putting in the work on its debut. Really enjoying using it in this battle. It was just so fat. It just checked everything on his team, and yeah, like I feel like this and Mega Aggron is going to be a really nice core for me to use. Sorry, I'm going to have to keep getting drinks just because seemingly talking at its volume is slightly harder on my throat, it seems. But after I go for that Haze, I'm going to switch out into my Mega Aggron. If he wants to go for another Dragon Dance, then that's absolutely fine. Like, I don't mind too much because, like I said, it needs to be at like +4 or something to be able to take me out from the range I'm at. So he actually goes out into his Entei, takes another lot of rocks. I'll go for the Heavy Slam here, and like at this point I'm fairly sure he's just sacking off his Entei, maybe hoping that I go for Toxic or something just to cripple the Mega Rotaria. However, he does actually live on 1 health, and that means I have to go back into my Toxapex again, but I am at full, so I know I can take 2 Stomping Tantrums, and here my play is 100% just to double back into Togekiss, but I'm like, I can take 2, like, that's not doing enough damage, it's not even close to half, so I can take another 1, I can recover. I don't know why I decided to go for that, so he goes for another Stomping Tantrum, and actually gets the crit, and Toxapex finally goes down after like 40 turns of just kind of stalling. It finally goes down, and I know I'm safe to go back into my Togekiss and just go for the Dazzling Gleam, as yet again he just makes this risky switch into his Crocodile, and it's not going to appreciate a Dazzling Gleam. Like, I just clicked Dazzling Gleam at this point because he had nothing that he wanted to take a Dazzling Gleam at all. Like, if Mega Rotaria came in, then it took a massive chunk, because I assumed it was like bulky but with a little bit of offense but nothing in special side. So Dazzling Gleam was doing like 60-70%, and he's going to go into his Jolteon, and that's absolutely fine with me. Like, I know I can go into my Raichu here, because nothing he wants to throw off is going to be able to KO me. I haven't seen him about ground, I've seen him about poison. So he's just going to die to his own burn here, as long as I don't go into Bulu, that is. So yeah, we're looking really good here. We're 3 against 5. We still got the things we need to check the things on his team, and I've got the momentum at the moment, so I can go just for Volt Switch, go back into my Aggron, and be able to check this thing kind of indefinitely, as long as it doesn't set up too many times. I have lost my Haze user, so if it sets up to +5, +6, then it's a bit of a problem. But I don't expect him to be able to, nor want to, in front of this Mega Aggron. So he gives me Earthquake, and that's about 40 damage, so it does look like it's not fully physically offensive. I think the calc showed like 80-ish like EVs in attack. So he's just going to sack off his Entei, expecting a Heavy Slam, which I was absolutely definitely going for. He hadn't set up at this point, so he needed to get his Milotic in. I don't know why he didn't just go straight into Milotic. I guess he didn't want to take any potential damage that I could throw off. He hasn't seen my full moveset, he's seen 3 of my moves, so maybe he thought I had like Thunder Punch as my last move or something, and but no, I wasn't messing around. I want to get rid of that Mega Rotario. It's the one thing stopping me from winning, basically. So he just throws off a Scald. That's going to do a decent chunk to my Togekiss. And here I make a decision. I'm just going to let my Togekiss go down. I'm expecting him to want to go for an Ice Beam after this. I'm going to throw off a Wish. That's going to be able to get whatever wants to come in next onto this this Milotic, and put it back up to full health. I actually lived the Ice Beam, but I'm going to go down to my Toxic Poison, so unfortunate, but at the same time it's kind of what I wanted in the game plan. I wanted to die on that turn, so now I'm able to get my Bulu in, and my Bulu kind of just scares out the Milotic, so he has to go out into his Mega Rotaria and take the hit, and that is absolutely fine with me, because Wood Hammer into Smart Strike, if he has no speed investment, will be able to take it out, or Wood Hammer into Wood Hammer again pretty much takes it out. And yeah, at this point I haven't seen any speed, so I don't know what he is looking at, but Dragon Dance probably going to have a little bit of speed just to outspeed my fastest Mons uninvested. But I'm not sure, I don't know, because I haven't done the calcs. I'm fairly sure he can't outspeed Hawlucha regardless, so yeah, I'm fairly sure he's just trying to outspeed something on my team that was Choice Scarf. Maybe Choice Scarf Bulu, something like that, at +1. So he's running just enough speed to outspeed me, which is kind of annoying, but it does mean that I go straight back out into my Aggron, and with the Grassy Terrain up, means he's kind of doing nothing really with his Earthquakes, and he's going to have to set up to +6 regardless, and I can try and play around that as he goes for another Roost. And here I'm surprised he didn't go back into his Milotic, certainly the play I'm expecting. So I just double out again, trying to catch this Milotic on the switch, as he's actually going to stay in, and that's quite bad for me. I don't really know why he stayed in, like he literally can't do any damage to me, but at the same time if he sets up enough Dragon Dances once the Grassy Terrain goes down, then it becomes a problem. So I need to keep my Grassy Terrain around. I kind of switch straight back out into my my Mega Aggron, because I still can take the hits absolutely fine. And now I just click Heavy Slam. I just keep clicking Heavy Slam. Regardless of what he wants to do, I cannot let this thing continue to set up. With the Grassy Terrain, I'm going to get just to enough health that I can take a +4 Earthquake from this thing. And I'm just going to click Heavy Slam as many times as I can. He can keep setting up, he can try and Roost, but 2 Heavy Slams, regardless of like what kind of bulk he's running. I think he's running bulky because of damage I've done earlier, especially with Wood Hammer and Smart Strike. And as you can see, that's going to do a good chunk of damage. If he wants to try and Roost here, then he's going to die without doing any damage. And if he Earthquakes, I'm going to be able to take the hit and kill with the Heavy Slam regardless. So he actually goes for the Roost. He doesn't try to attack me. I think he just like hopes that I'll overpredict again. And I'm not in the business of overpredicting at this point. I've predicted once on that Mega Rotario and got it wrong, so I'm just going to keep clicking Heavy Slam. And again here, I kind of expect him to expect me to go into my Bulu on the yeah, because he's going to throw off like a Scald or something. I actually live a hit with Raichu regardless. And yeah, at this point I can just throw off a Thunderbolt or a Volt Switch. I'm going to just pause. This is the last turn's battle. I go for Volt Switch here just on the off chance that he lives, and I've stuck into Thunderbolt against something that is taking less than half. I didn't think he was going to be able to live it, but just on the off chance, I was going to Volt Switch, go into Bulu on the expected recover, and just start spamming Woodhammer. And eventually it was going to go down regardless, so I do go for the Volt Switch here, but as you're going to see, he is not running any special defense investment really at all, and he just goes down. So good game to Obo. We win 4-0. Certainly our bulk was just too gross in this game. It just sat there and it was fat. Toxapex just takes hits all day. The wish passing from Togekiss was huge. I wasn't going to bring it initially, but then I realised it's kind of nice against this team. It does actually do neutral damage to everything, and that's something I really needed. Also, those wishes were just massive for keeping my team healthy, especially my Tapu Bulu. Like, my Tapu Bulu took so much damage. Those wish passes were just really nice for it. Victini didn't hit the field at all. Sad I didn't get to do anything this week, but I'd rather it didn't touch the field at all when we pick up a win. But certainly our walls just kind of did its job, able to check everything on his team. And yeah, I know halfway through the battle he was like, I don't think I can break this, there's just no way I can break through. But yeah, that's just how it is sometimes. That's just how it is. Good game again to Obo. We play Sharpedo 43 in week 7, and again his team just matches up really nicely, I feel, against mine. My walls are not going to be as good in that game. It's certainly a much more offensive kind of style I'm going to have to play against him, just because I do not have the team matchup in my opinion. But yeah, that will hopefully be going up on Monday. And yeah, we're now 3-3. We have pulled ourselves level. I think our KD is still -1. So though we pulled ourselves level, we've just had a couple of bad games where we really didn't play as well as we could have, and definitely didn't pull the differential back as well as we could have. So unfortunately we are in that situation where we're still in a minus differential, despite the fact we are now not in a bad place. I think we're just outside of playoffs. A win against Sharpedo would be fantastic. That would actually put us into the playoffs, or in playoff contention definitely. And yeah, I'm going to end the video here. Have a great day guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.